We then moved on to looking at the problems of metaphysics, or some problems of metaphysics, namely problems of cosmology and ontology, that really were the ones that were being addressed by the first philosophers, the first ancient Greek philosophers. They were answering questions of ontology. What are the basic components of the cosmos? And with regard to that question, there are, two very different kinds of approaches. One is that everything in the cosmos, in the universe, is a material object or is a physical object. That is, that physical or material things are the only real things. That is, the only things that really exist. And there are kind of two, or we can divide up the people who are materialists into two camps. One, or a group of people who think there is only a single kind of substance, one kind of material that everything in the world is constructed from. Then other people think there are many kinds. And our original philosophers, our friends from Miletus, the Milesians, were monists. They were materialists, physicalists, and they were monists. They thought there was only one kind of thing. In particular, if we take a look at our first Milesian philosopher, the first philosopher period, Thales. What was everything composed of? And what was the origin of everything? Water. Very weird theory. I'm sure it's not something you wanted immediately to go home and tell your best friend, who you're trying to impress with what you're learning in school, your mother, your father, your significant other, whomever, somebody you're trying to impress. That's not going to, it was not very impressive. I learned about this guy who said everything comes from water and everything is made up of water. It doesn't really sound that impressive. You didn't go into any of your science classes and tell the professor in chemistry or in physics or biology, everything's water. I learned that in philosophy. This guy Thales came up with it. But nonetheless, it was really something impressive about it, because remember, prior to that, the explanations of what happened in the cosmos, in the universe, was that there was not what Carl Sagan called cosmos, that is an order, but things just happen. It was mythology. There were gods that were acting on the world and causing things to happen kind of randomly. There was no predictable sequence. Things just happened, and when they did happen, the explanation was one of these mysterious gods was causing this to happen. By contrast, Thales found something that was observable. How did he come up with water? He based this on observation. He saw the rain falls, and as a result, plants grow, the crops grow. He watched what goes on perhaps at the delta of a river, as Carl Sagan told us in his YouTube video, Cosmos. He saw that silt was being deposited in the delta, that land was being built up, so he thought it was coming from water. Even, sexual reproduction, it was from a moisture that all of us come into existence. So, first of all, the theory is based on observation, and the second significant thing that happened, that was embodied in this theory, is that Thales tries to explain the existence of the universe and what goes on in the universe, and not in terms of God, not in terms of these mystical explanations, but rather in material principles, which is really the beginning of science and the beginning of any kind of metaphysics that we really can defend.